Okay, hello, and yes, I'm so excited and thrilled.
I see you're taking last week's lesson.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, no, I'm excited and thrilled because it's another After Movie Diner episode,
it is.
And it's wonderful. Here we are in the shadow of the awesome Empire State Building.
Oh, yeah.
Here on 33rd Street in Smashburger. We have made a return odyssey to. Well, it was an odyssey. It's like a clock and a half.
No, thank you very much.
That's
Thank you.
Look at that!
You guys aren't waiting for anything else, right?
No, that's it. Thank you. Oh yeah, sure.
Thanks very much.
Wonderful. Are you sharing my fries, Chief?
No, I'm okay.
You sure?
Yeah,
Go on. I'll put them up there. We can
All
share.
right, okay.
So we're in the Smashburger under the shade of the Empire State Building. We've just had our food delivered. We were here for Bone Tomahawk.
Yeah, we were, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Which was a fun episode, I think.
Yes.
This time round, we could not watch the film together.
No.
Because of our busy schedules.
Your busy schedule. My schedule was wide open.
Except last night it wasn't. Had it been open last night...
Oh, well, because the footy was on.
Right, the footy was
Right,
on.
yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
Right.
fair point.
So it's both our schedules.
Yeah, all right.
I admit mine
All right,
is
I
busy,
do have things going on in my life.
but you have stuff going on as well.
Yeah. Well, other people have things going on. I just watch them on the television.
Right. Other people are doing things like
Yes.
exerting themselves and
Right.
earning money.
Achieving goals.
Literally, in the case of football.
Sport joke.
Sport joke.
Sport joke. Is that the first sport joke on the After Movie Diner?
Probably. No. Well, on the After Movie Diner. Dr. Action and I did some
Oh, I'm sure.
sports
I'm
jokes.
sure some obscene,
Yeah.
sports related.
No, because his team, Leicester, is climbing the
That's right.
Premiership.
Not climbing.
What?
They've clung.
No, but
It has been climbed.
they've almost won the Premiership.
Yeah.
Right? And so I said, if they do, will Mrs. Action wear a Leicester FC uniform while certain carnal things are happening? And then
There was always going to be carnal.
It was always going to be carnal. And then there was a lot of jokes about like handball and dribble technique and all that. So anyway,
First sport joke on the diner.
it's second week
Second week.
of our Sleazy Spader Springtime.
It is.
So named by my co-host, Mr. Jim Wallace, who
very
is
much.
here with me again. Just tell the listeners before we get into what movie we're doing, what we're eating, because I know that they do hang on our every word as to what
I'm
we're
eating
ordering.
a mushroom Swiss and truffle mayonnaise grilled chicken sandwich.
And I am eating a crispy chicken avocado club minus the tomatoes.
Dig in.
Right, and we got the rosemary and garlic
Oh yeah, we
fries
got
that
the
way.
nice fries. Yeah. So we're doing all right.
Well, done very, very, very well.
Yeah. Which is more than could be said for me
Having
during
sat
watching
through-
that movie.
Right, what was the movie, James? Tell us all.
The movie that we saw was called Dream Lover. And what we like to do is we like to advise you, before we even start talking about it, on whether you should or should not watch this film. And I think, and I'm just speaking for myself here,
Right.
for the love of God, don't watch this film.
No, I would have to strongly and wholeheartedly agree. Despite it being James Spader,
Yeah.
despite it being James Spader at his most man who fell to earth, like an alien who just landed amongst humans and doesn't quite understand how shit
Yeah,
works.
that's true. That's a good. Oh, but
Despite it being
Sorry.
the only reason to watch this, I would say, is for Mr. Skin fanatics. If you want a brief glimpse of Madchen Amex Bush.
Did you know, right? Having looked into this briefly,
That's the first mention of Madchen Amex Bush on the After Movie Diner as well.
it is.
Yeah.
Although, anyway, two interesting things I found out just from looking it up online.
Right.
One is that this movie is described as an erotic thriller, which
Right.
I feel like is lying on two counts. Right?
Right.
Because, yeah, all right, there's a boob scene that lasts like a minute or two in the middle of it, but that's it.
Right.
I would think an
And
erotic
boob.
thriller,
And
yeah, but I
boob.
would think erotic thriller, minimum 3 boob scenes.
Minimum. Yeah. Well, I would say there's two sexual scenes towards the beginning. That's about it.
But it's not erotic.
No.
And it's definitely not.
I mean, we're not talking like Sliver, Basic Instinct, Fatal Attraction. We're not talking that.
Right. An erotic, what I'd expect from erotic thriller.
Right.
Another thing I found out, and this interests me very much, because I've long suspected that Roger Ebert doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
He doesn't know.
He thought this was a good film.
Right.
3 out of 4.
So
For him, the ending let it down.
the ending is bonkers. The ending is
But the ending is the only reason for the entire movie to exist.
Right, yeah.
Everything once you've seen the ending, you realise, oh, the reason everybody's awful, the reason Spader's like, some kind of mad, sleazy alien, it's all for this ending.
Right.
We're talking about a movie where there's a character, there's a moment in the film where you're supposed to suspect who Major Nandick is having an affair with. And you're supposed to go, oh, it's bound to be that loudmouth mate of Spader's because he's really annoying and I don't like him. Now, for that moment to work, that means this guy has made a movie where for a good hour there's a character who's deliberately annoying and unwatchable.
Right.
And you have to sit through that to get to some moment where you go, no, it's probably that annoying bloke that I don't like. Who makes a movie like that?
Don't know.
Also, interestingly, the column...
Oh, by the way, because it is 30 years old this week, Roger Ebert hated Brain Candy and loved this movie. If I've loathed Roger Ebert as a critic, like as a human being, I watched that documentary and blah 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 blah. But as a critic, in fact, even in the documentary, it came across like an arse, like a massive arse. Even after he lost his face. Anyway. As a critic, though, I've always hated Roger Ebert. He's always on the wrong side of history.
Yeah.
Like any movie that's going to become a cult movie, he's like, no, fucking hated it. 20 years later, everyone's like, it's the best movie ever. I'm pretty sure he hated, like, John Carpenter's The Thing. I'm pretty sure, like, he
that wouldn't
fucking hated
surprise
that.
me.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I know he hates Dawn and Day of the Dead.
Oh.
But anyway, enough about Roger, now he's dead, Ebert. Let's go back to Dream Lover.
So, well, okay, let's just...
Right.
Now we've got out of the way the fact that it's abysmal.
I would say it's interestingly abysmal.
The
But
ending,
anyway.
but that's what puzzled me about Ebert. It's like, the ending was weird, and I get the idea. So, look.
No, the ending was frustratingly mental.
No, I didn't mind the ending.
No, it was awful. Anyway, carry on.
Right, fair. We'll also go back to... Did you read the Hammer column this week?
I haven't read it yet, no.
Oh, okay, fine. Well, the Hammer column this week has interesting parallels to this movie because the Hammer column is all about what happens if you let the son of the boss make a movie. Right? The answer is you get a really terrible movie.
Right.
And this bloke is the son of Eli Kazan.
Right.
And the movie's so obviously written, just like that Hammer one, by a rich, privileged, idiot, that it's embarrassing. Particularly the opening 5 minutes is one of the most embarrassing. Like that woman's talking to James Spader, like, I had to divorce you because you slapped me that one time, but whoever marries you, it was so weird that scene. Whoever marries you is going to be the luckiest woman in the world. This is outside the divorce court, and all anybody's talking about is how great James Spader is. Cut to James Spader around the table with his arsehole friends.
Yeah.
Right? All of whom is saying, you're so great, you're so wonderful, wow, you're so handsome, women are going to fall over their feet. And they're all awful, braying idiots. And there's even a shot where the next table over looks at them like, God, what a table of annoying, braying idiots. And the loudest braying idiot goes, I'm so sorry, and makes some weak joke probably to do with his knob.
Well, it's Larry Miller, to be fair.
Right,
and I kind of like Larry Miller.
I do, but it's an awful part.
Stuff. Oh, yeah.
It's a terrible part.
And he's barely in it, to be fair, as well. So, all that is true. The other thing that is, I would say, the most annoying thing about the movie, and I think it's touching on what you're talking about, like the way it's written, because the entire mystery, of which there is none, right? But the entire mystery hinges on Spader and Amick acting like no two humans would or have ever acted in the history of humanity.
Yeah.
By basically wandering around like glazed eyes aliens that have been put in to like a Norman Pinter play or something. They got act like
I would love to see a Norman Pinter play.
act like
Hello! Oh dear.
oh no, you know what I mean. Harold Pinter.
You're talking about a cross between Harold Pinter and Norman Mailer.
Yeah.
Where one bloke's on stage saying nothing, but really menacing, and the other bloke won't stop talking, and eventually gets punched in the face.
Right, yeah. Basically.
Punches himself in the face, and that is a Norman Pinter play.
That's what this movie was. No, what I mean is, they were dropped into a scenario where some massive overlord alien, probably shaped like a snot,
Right.
went, act out human marriage for me. And they kind of just wandered around, not quite knowing what a human marriage consisted
It was like Breakfast at Tiffany's for psychopaths.
Right.
Because the whole Holly Golightly changing her name, moving away from the small town, coming to America and falling in love. That was all in the movie, except everybody involved was a psychopath. And you're right. No, nobody acts like that. And the most egregious part of the whole movie. Because look, I get the idea. It was all about that ending. That ending and was all about building up to that, right? And it wasn't like the neatest idea.
No.
And I failed to understand why a guy.
No, the movie.
Yeah, we're from.
Where we're from?
London. Originally.
We live here though.
You live here?
Yeah,
New Yorkers now.
You're New Yorkers.
Yeah, we are.
Proper New Yorkers.
I've lived here 9 years.
9 years? You still get that accent, actually.
We only
Get rid of it. I love it.
we're not going to get rid of that.
Never.
No.
Always where you come from.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, man. I love the English culture. Man.
That's very kind of you. Thank you.
I honestly wish I was able to go there and actually learn the proper way of speaking English.
You're fine. You're doing
Speak
fine.
English,
I
buddy.
know. It could be better.
Yeah, all right. It depends where you go.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
You know.
I love the accent, man. I'm like, oh my god.
That's very kind. Thank you, sir.
Hey, you guys are the best, man. You guys
Thanks very
are the
much.
best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy.
Thanks very much,
Well
man.
done,
Thank you.
Bizarre. So, what was I saying? No.
Let this chat over.
The whole movie,
Right.
but forget the ending. The whole movie is based on the principle of that. How do we extend and accentuate the paranoia one feels in a relationship, right? Only let's up the stakes and let's make this a relationship in which the two people are married and have children, right? So,
She is playing as well with the whole being married, having children thing.
yeah.
In terms of like getting his cash, which is what it's all about. She's playing a long old game.
Oh yeah, long
She
okay.
could have he didn't even know what she was doing with her credit card.
Right.
So presumably she could have scarpered with all of his cash
Right.
so long ago.
But not only that, but how old, like, they have one kid, right? Then
Right.
they have a second kid.
Right.
But once they've had one kid,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then, like, they've been together a while and the kid's a little bigger and whatever. It's only then that he's like, wait a minute, who are you again? Like,
Yeah.
it's only then that he starts so wait a minute, they're together almost, well, even the shortest amount of time, but let's say they're together 18 months, right? For the kid to be born, like, for her to have sex, get married, have the kid, and then for the kid to be like 8 months to a year old, right?
Right.
That whole time he suspects nothing.
Right.
And then because some woman bumps into her in a diner and goes, wait a minute, are you Cece from Texas?
Which is
quite
so
frankly
weak.
makes no sense.
It's so weak.
Right? And then instead of mentioning
I've been to lots of she's been,
Right.
let's not forget, she's been to 3 places in her life.
Yes.
She's been to the Texas place,
Uh-huh.
New York, and LA. That's it. I've been to lots of places.
Right.
Nobody in any of those places
No.
has ever come up to me and said, are you that guy from that place that I know you from? Ever. Ever.
Right.
The odds are ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Also, how come when he goes back to that town to ask them all about Major Namek, they all go, oh, like the wall of silence around Major Namek. And the audience is supposed to go, ooh, what's this wall of silence? Answer, nothing. There's no wall. She just moved away and changed her name. The end. It's not like, oh shit, if we talk about Major Namek, she comes back and cuts our legs off.
Right.
So why is nobody saying anything?
No.
Answer, no reason at
So
all.
the most frustrating thing ever is that
God, it's a long list with this
Oh,
film.
it is that for an hour of this movie, maybe more, it goes, Spader suspects, Spader suspects. Yep, we're all good. Thank you so much. I swear I've never been in a fast food joint and been asked pleasantly and wonderfully and lovely and very supportively how I'm feeling after they've already got our money and whatever.
Well, that guy that clearly was walking past us and heard us
Right.
braying in an English accent, and he really likes the English accent. So I went to say hello.
Right. So
I
anyway,
wish him well in his travels, hopefully one day to England.
me too. But he talks fine, doesn't need to learn anything.
No,
So
I agree,
anyway,
it's fine.
But the most annoying is for an hour, Spader suspects Mansion Amick through a mixture of paranoia and actual evidence.
Right.
Right?
Hello, gentlemen.
Hi.
How you guys doing today?
We're doing very well, thank you very much.
Oh, okay. So can I tell you guys about our survey?
Not right now, thanks, man.
Not right now, man. Sorry, we're just in for lunch, so we're just having a quick one. Wow.
Now it's officially getting annoying.
Right, well, it's because we're in a tourist area and everyone thinks we're tourists.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Downside of doing it in the shadow of the Empire State Building. Sounds good for the podcast. In practicality, nobody will leave you alone.
Right, so, well, I've been saying this 3 times now, right?
What, the
So-
word so or this actual point?
Spader suspects Mansion Amick.
Well, yeah, you have said that, I think.
Right?
Yeah.
Based on suspicion and actual evidence. Presents actual evidence to Mansion Amick. She went, oh yeah, you caught me, I did change my name, I did move, this did happen, those are my parents, blah 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 blah. Like admits it all, right?
Yeah.
Spader goes, oh okay, I'll fall in love with you again. Has another child, right? Second child, right? Life apparently has moved on and everything is wonderful.
Right.
Suddenly, more suspect, blah 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 blah, evidence, evidence, evidence. Oh yeah, no, I did that too.
Actually, I
Right.
think I know.
So hang on, it keeps
Sorry.
going, right?
Right.
Then,
Yeah, no, we're fine. Thanks, man. Thanks.
God, no, this is actually irritating me. I'm trying really hard to be nice to the people of Smashburger, but at this point they need to leave me the fuck alone. I'm sitting not bothering anybody else.
Which is a first, actually, for you in a
Yeah,
restaurant.
I'm not even really
Normally
bothering.
you're howling, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not really bothering you either.
Taking off your Mac.
So anyway, halfway through the third act, it's not even the whole third act, halfway through the third act, suddenly Spader is put into like a mental institution, and then the whole thing just changes fucking gear and becomes this, is he crazy, isn't he crazy, has he been committed for the right reason, hasn't he been committed for the right reason, is he going to get out, is she going to get a comeuppance, what's going to happen, blah 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 blah. And at the very end of the movie, the writer comes up with a tiny, tiny, tiny little twist, right? Based on the law, basically. Based on the law.
Based on other movies' ideas of how the law works.
Right. No, totally. No, completely. Based on how other movies ideas.
If you're insane, you get away with murder.
You get away with
No.
No.
I'll be out in a year. No.
No. However, no explanation whatsoever about what happens to his kids, what happens to the couple that are breaking up because her husband is bonking Mansion Amick. Not only that, but a revelation that they've been fucking for like 3-4 years. And you're like, what?
Right.
So every Wednesday you're going to run off and do this thing because you want a bit of money, and the guy you're bonking has money.
But worse than that, when he, right near the beginning of their relationship, she has a mysterious bruise, right? And then it's all through the relationship, she's a bit clumsy. What's the mysterious bruise? So the question being asked to the audience is, where are the mysterious bruises coming from? Well, the answer is, she gives herself mysterious bruises so that in 5 years' time, when her terrible, terrible plan comes to fruition, she'll go, psychologist goes, actually, she's had bruises for a long time, and she told me it was the husband. And you were supposed to go, oh, how clever. No, how psychopathically dull-brained of you to give yourself bruising, to hurt yourself, in order that in 5 years' time you can take money that, as you point out, you already have.
Yeah. Not only that,
Just divorce him, because also at the beginning of the movie he's like, oh, she can have whatever she wants. I won't contest the divorce because I'm fucking great. That bit, which was weird. And also, what's with the dream? The
No,
dream
hang on, we'll get onto that in a minute. The dream thing was bad. But the thing that frustrated me the most about this movie throughout its running time was that the writer went, if I just leave vast sections out, it'll add mystery and people will go with it. No. Like, the court case, the phony court case, they hold in a mental institution, which
I wish the judge also goes, listen, I want to believe you.
Yeah.
I do believe you. You seem like a great guy. It's like, no, he seems like a psychopath in a mental institute.
In a beige
which, even though this is all bollocks, all the bollocks evidence that you're looking at clearly points to Spader being a psychopath. So what are you giving us the whole, like, well, I think you're a reasonable guy, but you can't... And then when he goes, well, what about these... visits to the hotel on your Visa card every Wednesday that indicate quite clearly having an affair. Oh, I lost my Visa card. And the judge goes, compelling. No! That's not even that was going to be her plan, by the way, when they find out about the hotel, which clearly, he was supposed to find out about. Her defence was, I lost my Visa card. And somebody must have not only stolen it, but kept going to the same hotel every Wednesday. Because it was so bad. And you know what's worse? This guy...
Is there any lawyer worth their salt would have hired an investigator who in 30 seconds would
30
have gone
seconds, yeah.
her?
Yeah. I hadn't even thought about that. You're right.
Instead of having a lawyer that went, every time James Spader went, no, that's not what happened, the lawyer went, keep quiet, stay calm.
Paul Donna from The West Wing, who played the temp, right? Oh, hi, yeah, I'm a temp. Were you hired by the wife to pretend to be her friend at a wedding? Yes. Did she laugh about how she was pulling the wool over Spader's eyes? Yes. Case dismissed. Right? No. Probably don't bother. Spades.
So let's move on to the next section, which is these dream sequences.
Oh my Jesus.
Where he is at some circus, some crazy
The only
circus.
good bit of the entire movie was that opening shot of the wheel going around, which was lovely.
Yeah.
It was a lovely, lovely shot.
A bit long, I thought.
It was actually a bit long, you're right.
So, the dream...
Thanks, man. Thanks very much. Thank you. Cheers.
The dream sequences where he's harassed by clowns. A clown. And then goes into some sort of pick your dream woman, big tent thing with a big fat lady carnival barker type.
Yeah. He's a real feminist, this guy, as well.
Yeah.
Real feminist.
And then the twist at the end is you should have stayed married to your ex-wife.
Even though it wasn't his decision to divorce her. So how's that helpful? It was, you're right, there was supposed to be a twist in the dream, because it was we're not going to reveal her face. Is it Maid Shanamic? No, it's not, it's the other one, because you should have stayed with her. Well, you're right, but she divorced me, so how's that helpful, subconscious?
Not only that, right?
Sorry, I'll get back to you in a minute.
Not only that, but the only thing...
The story of this movie, by the way, is not only that, but... You know what I mean? There's so many things you can say. Not only that, but even more ridiculous and painful...
The only way I would have bought it,
right,
or the only way it could have been even remotely interesting and saved itself,
yes,
would have, and the only thing that would have explained the dream sequences, which, by the way, remain completely unexplained by the end of the movie,
right,
and that is if it was revealed that Spader was crazy. So, in other words, if you set this movie up like I don't know who I married, like that Goldie Hawn Deceived movie with her and John Hurt or whatever.
I don't know that one.
Okay, well anyway. There was a whole rash of movies that came out like the end of the 80s, early 90s, where it was like either fear of getting sexually involved with someone, as in like Fatal Attraction or Basic Instinct or whatever. Or the guy I married ended up being an axe murderer, or I'm secretly married to a spy, or the woman I married is, really a cattle fucker or something. I have no idea. But there was always a bunch of 90s quote-unquote thrillers that they could like put a couple of semi-famous faces in, pump out for $5, and here it is on the shelf of Blockbusters. Right. You could have written one that was like that, with all the yuppie veneer that this one had, and Fatal Attraction has, and all the rest of it, that's leading you to believe the whole way through that it's the woman that's crazy because she lied about this and she lied about that, and blah, 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 blah. But actually the flip is true, and actually he's crazy. It wouldn't be the best movie ever, but it would at least have looked at the other movies and gone, I have an idea based on this that could possibly yield something interesting. And Spader was playing it bananas throughout the movie. Oh yes, please. Yeah, thank you. Spader was playing it bananas throughout the whole movie, so it would have totally sold into that. He's having crazy dreams. He is a bit like violent and reactionary and paranoid. Like you could have, and I think maybe the movie was attempting that, like in its second layer, if it had any layers at all.
Oh, I think layers is a strong word.
But you know what I'm saying, though,
Yeah.
right? But instead,
Torn tinfoil?
I'm not going to take my antipsychotic medication. In fact, I'm going to give it to the guy next to me who seems perfectly happy to be in the mental institution. And when my wife, who's insane psychopath who's been fucking one of my best friends and wants to take me for all the money I have, inexplicably shows back up at the mental hospital, even though she doesn't have to or doesn't need to or whatever. She could divorce his ass and just, like, if he's been committed, right, and as far in the eyes of the law is guilty of like horrible wife beating for 3 straight years or whatever.
Yeah, also that's not insanity.
Right.
Like all she's proved is that he beats her on a regular basis because he's paranoid about her cheating on him. That's not insanity. That's like, oh, I beat her because she's an alien leader from Alpha Centauri, and if she looks at me for too long, my knees glow. Like that's insanity.
Right, that is insanity.
Jails are full of men who beat up their wives because they were cheating on them, even when they weren't.
Right.
They go to jail. They don't like commit them
to a country club mental institution where
because it's like, oh well, the only way a man would, beat. What they're saying is they're basically saying the only reason men beat women is because the women drive them crazy.
Right.
So basically, it's okay.
Right.
And we'll just, we understand. Have a comfy seat in a lunatic asylum. We'll give you some medication to keep you calm because you might marry somebody else and start beating them.
And who's paying for that?
It's written.
So anyway, I had my point about the ending, but carry on.
Okay, but just quickly, I'm saying it ties in again.
Right.
Not only to like the rich, I've got no idea about real life, I'm a rich idiot thing.
Right.
But because he's the son of a Hollywood, screenwriter, director, and he's lived in Hollywood his whole life, all he knows is like the movie's conceptions of things.
Right.
So things like, the insanity defense, that means you can, get away with murdering somebody. So what if a woman drove you insane? And then you were able to murder her to get you away. That's the fucking thing of the movie. But it doesn't work because you don't get committed. It doesn't. You just know what I mean? Like it's
right.
just. It's based on somebody who doesn't know anything about real life.
Right.
And only knows about how movies think about real life. Writing a movie, intending to illustrate real life, but it's not. It's utterly empty bollocks. And Roger Ebert, whatever he said throughout his life, should be utterly and thoroughly ashamed of himself for thinking that this had any kind of merit.
Right. I agree completely. The ending is basically that James Spader strangles his wife while saying to her, the fundamental flaw in your problem about having me committed, right? Which, by the way, she couldn't in any way guarantee was actually going to happen. It just happened by chance.
Right.
But the fundamental flaw is that if I kill you, I get away with it.
No.
No. Right?
No. Many times, no.
But not only that, but like I said, when it ends, if you're at all invested in the movie, you're like, so what happens to his business? What happens to his kids? What happens to all the protagonists within the movie? Like, what does any of this amount to? Nothing.
Nothing. Less than nothing.
Basically, James Spader's vacant alien face.
And there was also the thing about, whose kids are they? And did she even have the second kid? Because there was a thing about bloke going, she's recovered her figure mighty quick, given that she had that second kid so recently. And you're meant to go, oh, does that mean she's like bought a child or stolen one, or I don't know. Like my problem was, if I had to nail down how I think the movie could have been better, the movie could have been better if there was some reason that there really was something behind all these crazy things that she was doing. That there was some kind of a plan, because the plan ended up being, I'm going to run away with another guy with a bunch of money, which,
To
as you
New
point
Zealand, out of all
yeah,
places.
but it's like, as you point out, you're already with another guy with a bunch of money, and the other bloke's just like an annoying, nothing dullard. It doesn't she's in love or anything.
In fact, hang on a second. She could have lots of money and live a fantastic life just being married to James Spader.
Right.
Like at the beginning of the movie, he's madly in love with her, gives her credit cards, has children with her,
And
she gets to
even
live in a
says to him-
penthouse
She even
apartment.
says to him, "Oh, despite everything, I really do love you." So it's all horribly pointless. And the thing is, it's not just that it's horribly pointless. Plenty of horribly pointless movies have been made, and it's not just that it's utterly ridiculous. Plenty of utterly ridiculous movies have been made. It's just you're made to care to a tiny extent about what the fuck is going on and what's the mystery. Like, what is it with her? What's going on?
Right.
And there's nothing to it
Right.
at all.
But that's what I
There's
mean.
no
Throughout the
evil,
movie-
there's no genius plan.
No.
There's no where she began,
Also-
she began the bruises. None of it.
Also, at the very end, Spader goes, "Oh yeah, you must have got the idea from Jeff in Texas," and I'm like, that was a line of dialogue a long time ago.
I even forgotten about that.
having Jeff committed. I don't know if his name was Jeff, but when he showed up, didn't Bud the hillbilly who she'd been nailing back.
Oh, the
in
White
Texas.
Snake guitarist.
Yeah, the guy. The guy who was the. I don't think he would be the White Snake. He'd be like the reserve White Snake.
The roadie, the White
Or
Snake roadie. Yeah, the
who
White
would
Snake
change,
roadie.
He would change the strings and sullenly walk on stage with a new guitar, being like, "I could do this," and then go off and slit his wrists or something.
Right.
So anyway, that guy, who had incredibly important work to get off, so he could only.
He walked out of his own business, just out into the street,
To go
down
off
the
and do
street,
more work.
to go off and do
Whatever.
what exactly?
So, and he knew exactly where her parents lived and everything. So anyway, but yeah, she told her parents he worked for the CIA.
Yeah, which again-
How does that tie in when he gets committed? Oh, what happened to that husband of yours in the CIA? Oh, I had him committed and took all his money and went to New Zealand. Okay.
But that was all weird too, because again, it's like, well, the parents are going to and then they just turn up at the door, that's it, the end. There's no mystery, there's no maybe she gets it from the parents. There's nothing there.
But that,
Literally
but
nothing.
that was the funniest thing, was that the parents are sat in the room benching at each other and arguing with each other, going, no, say this and say that, like they're really horrible people. And then Spader and her go into the
that's right,
bedroom, and he goes, these seem like perfectly lovely, normal people.
Yeah,
I'm like,
no, they don't. They
they're
seem
not.
like
They're
quarrelsome,
awful,
bickering,
redneck
thickheads.
mad. So, yeah, I mean, it was just awful. And Spader,
Spader's only in it. One of the many, many reasons it's so weird. No, actually, scratch that. Spader makes the film weird rather than just flat out bad. Because they've hired him just for that final scene. Because they want, somebody who looks like he used to be, a straight-laced guy, but now he's gone crazy. But, that means you get Spader for the whole film. Which means, like you say, he could be a psychopathic alien.
yeah, he
But
looks like a guy.
I'm a happy-go-lucky architect with everything I could possibly wish for. Then don't cast Spader.
Right.
Because
he
Spader
walks
looks
throughout
like,
the movie.
I think about killing animals.
He walks throughout the movie in a series of black V-necks, polo necks, and shirts. Right. Also, weirdly, throughout the whole movie, they both wear exactly the same thing. She wears a succession of beige dresses with those fucking pearls she never even takes off. And she doesn't even take the pearls off during sex, which is just weird. And then secondly, he spent the whole movie in beige slacks and a black shirt of some kind. Anyway, he walks around literally like an alien face discovering humanity for the first time.
While wearing a woman's tights.
While wearing...
he's all the way through, I'm wearing your tights under these chinos.
Yes, exactly. He's wearing women's underwear.
Did we get that expensive building contract? Oh, tights. It's so weird.
And at the same time, an alien who has realised halfway through that the human race is not worth saving, and therefore he may as well just exist on this plane of utter ennui and psychoticness. Anyway, so We should give it a sleaze scale. I mean, the movie is a 1 out of 5. It's fucking awful. Don't bother seeing it. But
Yeah.
on a sleaze level, Spader is. I mean,
I don't know if I necessarily. I mean, I think you're right. He seems like he's from another planet, and he's not really. He doesn't seem to be enjoying himself very much.
No.
I feel like a big part of Spader's sleaze
yeah,
is how much he enjoys, in a disgusting way,
Right.
pretty run-of-the-mill things. So I mean, James Spader sitting on a bench with a like expression, like he's being sleazy.
Right.
The bit that I would give like what did we call it? The sleaze watch, sleazometer.
Sleazometer.
There was a bit which I can't figure out if it was a mistake or not. I'm assuming it was, but there's a bit where they're lying in bed and Spader is at first glance kissing her arm that's underneath him, and then you realise that her arm's not underneath him. He's kissing his own arm. Yeah.
That was
He's like
super
sleazing
weird.
and kissing his own arm.
He's like licking his upper
It
arm.
was really weird.
Yeah.
Because at the beginning, like, oh, okay, he's just, and then, no, I think that's his arm, and that was weird and sleazy. So, far and away,
Also,
that gets the sleaze.
That any sex you have with James Spader, apparently it ends up with him resting his head on your lap, longing. With the bed sheets just covering all your bed.
Yeah, it would have taken about an hour to arrange those bed sheets. It was utterly abysmal. It was abysmal filmmaking, and he never directed another film. He never directed another film.
And the other thing is, apart from the dream sequences, which, by the way, I've now reassessed, I think that is a film student idea. I don't think there's
you're
any.
right.
I think it's like, I'm going to put some dream sequences in here to show what a phenomenal filmmaker is. Because the rest of the movie could have been filmed in a beige room behind beige sheets, wearing beige clothing in beige town. Because it was singularly the most beige movie I've ever seen.
It was extremely
His apartment was beige, where he worked was beige, the clothes they wore was beige, his chest hair was beige. Also, he has the sleaziest chest hair of any actor working.
There's a if you want to know how bad this film is, because maybe we're making it sound interesting, like in an incidental fashion.
No, we're not.
There's a sequence in it, and I think you'll know what I'm talking about, where the annoying friend, Norman, is filming everyone around the swimming pool. Right? And what he does is he gives really unfunny commentary.
Right.
About everything that the camera is seeing. Oh, there's Spader and blah, 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 whatever. It goes on for 5 minutes.
Way too long,
Ages and ages and ages. And there's no jokes, it's not funny, and it doesn't lead to anywhere. It's not referenced later.
Because if
means
Norm had
nothing.
filmed her going to the hotel.
Right, or something.
That should have been in there. What should have been in there is Norm as a joke thinks he'll follow Mad Shenamit and get some funny footage to show Spader because he knows Spader's been paranoid, and he actually catches her bonking the thing, and at the last minute when he comes into the phony baloney courtroom that isn't a courtroom in a mental institution, it's probably the break room, everyone else is outside shuffling about the lawn going, where's my cupcake? While this is all going on. He should have come in with the video footage and gone Hotel Chanticleer.
Yeah, but it's still not. I mean, I know what you're saying. Yes, that would have been better, but it's still not good enough. Like by a million miles.
Even the matchbook of the hotel was beige. Everything. Anyway, so let's now go quickly because I've got to look at time. But I've got 15 minutes. Okay. So now let's go, if we can, to Facebook.
Can I just quickly point out, by the way, that this guy. Ended up writing Fallen.
He what?
He wrote Fallen. So he can write the Denzel Washington...
Oh, yeah. Madness. Joe Yannick talks about what great shape James Spader is in the movie Supernova. So we should have to check that out. But I'm going to add to Joe Yannick's question, which was which Spader incarnation would you like to bed? I'm upping that. Out of Spader characters, you have to marry one, fuck one, and kill one. It's a bit early in our Spader thing to really answer this, but...
Well, I would definitely marry the Spader in Dream Lover. And what I would do is I would not drive him insane. I would just be married to him and live as a really, really rich person forever.
Okay, good.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
And kill... What did we watch last? What was the one last week? It was.
The Jack's Back. I wouldn't kill either of those.
I guess I'd probably bed the go to bed with the brother, the twin brother.
Which
just
one?
For,
The
just
nice
for the discounts
one?
on the shoes.
Okay.
For the shoe discount.
Shoe discount, okay.
And kill. I'd probably kill Spader in the Blacklist
Why?
because it's the shittest shit that's ever shitted in Shittown.
Okay.
It's shit.
I see. I would kill Spader in 2 Days in the Valley because he's a psychopath.
I don't remember it well enough.
I'd probably marry. Which Spader would I marry? I'd marry Spader in Boston Legal,
Okay.
which he ends up marrying Shatner's character, so that should work.
Well, they get married.
They get married at the end in Canada, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's some legal thing, but they get married in Canada as a gay couple.
Okay.
And I would, well, I've got to fuck one now, right?
Yep. I've already taken the discount shoes. That is off the table.
Which Spader? Well, probably, probably Sex Lies and Videotapes Spader.
Okay.
He seems suitably.
Because you want to be videotaped.
No, I don't want to be videotaped.
You want your spotty ass
No, I don't.
on
no.
videotape.
But the
for
only
all
other
eternity.
ones, a crash. Well, I don't want to have to crash a car to have sex with him. Or secretary. I don't want to be beaten about the thighs and arse, or forced to urinate in a wedding dress. I don't want to do any of those things. I'll fuck Stargate Spader.
Oh, good call.
Stargate Spader.
Good call.
Yeah.
He'd be distracted by science. He'd be thinking about equations.
All right. So if Mo says if you could snort coke with Spader, which part of the hooker would you use?
The still living bit? The bit that Spader hadn't chopped off.
Okay, tits. Is my answer. What's better and why?
Tits is always your answer.
I know.
You didn't even have to think about
I
it.
didn't know. What's better and why? Sleazy crash Spader, creepy stalkerish wolf Spader, or eccentric Ultron blacklist Spader?
Well, I hate the Blacklist, but I quite liked him as Ultron.
See, I hated Ultron, but I quite liked him as Ultron. And I quite like the Blacklist. See, to me, Ultron and Blacklist are kind of they're kind of in the middle. Creepy stalkerish wolf Spader, I quite like him, but I wouldn't want him creepily stalking me.
I think they're asking which kind of Spader do you prefer to watch?
Sleazy Spader, hands down.
Yeah, definitely. You've got to stick to what you're good at.
Crash Spader, 2 Days in the Valley Spader, partially Jack's Back Spader.
He was very, very good and very sleazy in The Office, too. He was in The Office for a season.
Yes.
As the big sleaze.
In Less Than Zero, sleazy, with an aspect of psychosis, but sleazy nonetheless. I feel like all of Spader's sleaze comes at a price of a bit of psychosis.
Yeah.
I think he dances the line between, I might kill you, I might fuck you.
I think it's because there's so much need for sleaze.
Right.
He feels the need for sleaze all the time.
Yes.
And as a result, other bits of the brain that should have developed, just by virtue of being in society, have just been taken over by a sleaze, the spider of sleaze in Spader's brain.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's growing bigger and bigger with every passing day. And he's probably forgotten how to count. Do you know what I mean? He's probably forgotten how to drive a car. All he knows now is sleaze.
Every hole's a goal to Spader.
It's like, the sunglasses in
They Live.
Yeah. That's what Spader has now on all the time, except all he sees is
boobs.
sleaze.
Boobs and thighs and oil.
And oil.
Yeah.
Lots of oil. Everything's covered in oil.
So he gave a very interesting. Around about the time Secretary came out, he was interviewed on the Charlie Rose show. Right. Quite possibly one of the dullest shows ever, and Charlie Rose really needs to, I don't know, be set fire to, or given a Viking funeral on the fucking Hudson or something. Because all the way through, and I really wanted Spader to correct him, but all the way through he kept going, well, of course, sex lies and videotapes, which made you a star. And I'm like, he was a star for 10 years before that movie. He was in like Mannequin and Less Than Zero and Pretty in Pink.
But they were all supporting roles.
Right, but he was still a big star. He was as big a star as Andrew McCarthy or Robert Downey Jr. was back then.
Yeah, okay, I see your point. Yeah.
It wasn't like Sex Lies and Videotapes came out and everyone went, sorry, who is this James Spader chap?
But like, getting angry at Charlie Rose, it's like,
No, I know.
you know what I mean? It's like getting grumpy with your grandma. What's the point?
So anyway, during this interview with Charlie Rose,
Right.
He speaks as candidly as he can on public access, or whatever that's on, the Charlie Rose show,
Yeah.
about
the disgusting spiders that stalk his brain.
about sexuality and about, to him, the interesting parts of humanity are found within the sexuality. And then there's a recent one where he was talking with Colbert on the Tonight Show, whatever that one is,
Right.
that he now does, where Colbert openly says, like, what do you feel about your eccentric persona that people think about you, and they think about like the sleaziness and the eccentricity and blah blah blah, and he was perfectly happy with it. And he made a lot of like hints and comments that his brain is filled with the sorts of, you know, demonic fantasies that one would imagine.
Cool.
Yeah. So
See, Spader needs to write and direct a movie.
no, if Spader wrote and directed a movie,
Do you think that might signal the end of days?
Yeah, it would be like Salo or The Last Days of Sodom.
No. It would be like one of the what's that film that if you watch it, you know, like in Infinite Jest, you watch the film and you die.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like every frame,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like is lethal. You only have to see one frame of a Spader movie.
If James
and
Spader
you just
made a
drop
movie,
dead.
it would be like
You drop dead from too much
necromantic-
erection.
Yeah,
That's what happens.
it would be like necromantic meets
Priapic shot.
human centipede. He would have a human centipede having sex with another human centipede. Like that's, but it wouldn't even be.
That would be too prosaic.
Hang on, it
for
wouldn't
Spader.
even be in the foreground. It would just be in the
No,
background.
I
as an after.
no. I tell you what the movie would be. The movie would be, you'd be watching it, and Spader, on screen, would be having disgusting sex with you. And you wouldn't even know how that had happened. And everybody that's watching the movie sees themselves being rogered by Spader over and over again, while he looks fixedly at the camera. Do you know what I mean?
That's why he hasn't done it yet.
In total silence.
He's waiting for that technology to come about.
Except, in total silence, except for every 10 seconds, he has a recording of a different animal's scream. Like it's an antelope, then a tiger, then a cat.
And he occasionally does that lip nibble that he does,
Yeah,
where
he
he,
does a lip
sucks
nibble.
in the lip nibble.
Yeah.
It's like a kind of nervous.
No, what happens is, then every half
Which,
an hour...
by the way,
every
throughout the
half an hour-
blacklist, he does all of that. Like, in the blacklist, it may as well be called
Every-
Spader's lip nibble.
Every half hour, he stops,
Yes.
and then he smokes a cigarette,
Right.
doing
How long's the movie?
doing the lip nibbling thing, about 4 hours, doing the lip nibbling thing, and he says, when he's done with the cigarette, he looks and he goes, shall we continue? And you go, no, the movie must stop. I can't watch myself being rogered by James Spader anymore.
Creepiest
And then
line.
he stubs the cigarette out on a picture of your mother, and then starts having sex with you again. With the screams turned up, just a little bit. Just a little bit. And that would be Spader's directorial debut.
Okay, excellent. Do you know he lives in Greenwich?
And it would be called I Will Never Stop. That would be the movie.
That's the movie is called I
Will Never Stop.
Oh, that sounds. The trouble is for the 85% of us that would be utterly turned off by that, there is a 15%.
Well, the box office would be healthy.
There's a 15% of people out there who would. I mean, that would be their life.
Oh, yeah. If the numbers look good, it would be cheap to make.
Hang on a second. All
Publicity alone.
all the women in the audience would love that. That wouldn't be creepy to them at all. They'd love that.
I think you might be, slightly underestimating what women want from a movie. Oh, well, all they want is be boxed by James Spader.
That's not what I said. I said
The
that
after-movie diner does feminism.
I didn't say that.
Sports jokes,
It's just Spader.
and now feminism.
Okay, it's just that Spader is a particular type of sexual heartthrob to the women of America. and the women of the world, I would say. And
Really?
it's not-
Even now?
Yes.
Even though he looks like a pickled egg?
He looks a bit like you, only like
I did worry about
if you were larger, like if you're
fatter.
still quite svelte,
Right.
but if you were larger and your head looked more like the Mekons, then it would be. But yeah, Spader, another week of Spader.
About 50 minutes into this film, I
You
started to
were
regret the
cursing my
whole
name.
Spader.
Yeah, no,
Sleaze
we're
fest
gonna
thing.
do. We're gonna do.
What are we doing next?
What should we do next?
I
Well,
don't know.
we need recommendations. Come on, internet, email us, Facebook us.
I don't really want to have to, why don't we just see what's available? Is there anything else on Amazon Prime?
Not for free, but we can rent some. Yes. Oh no, there is one more for free. I think
I think there's one on Crack. Let me look at Crackle too.
there
I
isn't.
think-
I looked.
Yeah, you sure Alien Hunter isn't on there?
I didn't find it. I looked up James Spader and it returned no results.
It's got a bit of a shitty search engine though.
Oh, it has. It might. If I search Alien Hunter, it might come
Yeah,
up.
have a look. It
Alien
certainly used to
Hunter
be on
looks
there.
like the most shonkiest.
Yeah, but it used to be on Crackle. But they might rotate their movies quite a lot, I guess.
Okay. We can find some, dude. And I don't mind renting them for $3.
Okay.
It's just difficult to do if you then have to rent them as well. It'd be better.
Right, yeah, we'll do them together for sure. This is just a one-off because we can meet up.
Right.
That's fine. I'm all right coming around yours in the future.
Okay, good. But yes, that was fun. And others, like, I was watching Jim Love and I was like, Jim is going to hate this, but it's going to be a funny podcast. And it was.
Good call. Well, I enjoyed doing it. I
Yeah,
enjoyed doing the podcast a lot more than I enjoyed watching the film.
of course. And
Which-
we're coming
which-
up to 1:30, which is perfect.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, cool. Well, thanks very much for having me, man.
It was a real pleasure, sir. And you will be back next week, I presume,
For
for
another Sleazy Spader
another Sleazy Spader Springtime. Well, phenomenal, yes. And that was yet another episode of the After Movie Diner in the most positive way I can possibly say that. And before we end with our usual musical delight, which of course can be found on Spotify or Bandcamp or iTunes or Amazon under the name Miscellaneous Plumbing Fixtures. That's Miscellaneous Plumbing Fixtures on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, YouTube, you name it. That's where my music is. Go listen, go rate, go review, go buy, go purchase, go listen, go do whatever you want to do with it. But before we go to the musical delights of wonderment, it would be remiss of me if I didn't mention, write to us, why don't you, about Spader at aftermoviediner@gmail.com. Why not send us a tweet at aftermoviediner on Twitter? Why not send us a Facebook message over at facebook.com/aftermoviediner? Why not call us at 347-669-0053 or leave us a voicemail over at speakpipe.com/aftermoviediner. Mostly, though, I would like you to support the show. And if you don't purchase and or listen on Spotify to any of the Miscellaneous Plumbing Fixtures music, you can always head over to www.patreon.com/aftermoviediner and sponsor the show. It's Patreon, patreon.com/aftermoviediner. You can either do an amount per show, the littlest being $1 or 70p if you're in the UK, the most being as much as you would like per episode of the show, but you can limit your monthly amount. So let's say you give $3 per show, but you only want to do $10 a month, and I release 4 shows. You'd only be charged $10 a month. Let's say you want to do $1 per show, but you only want to do $3 a month or something like that. I don't know. And I do 4 shows in a month. Don't worry, you'd only be charged $3. That's the way it works. Patreon.com. You decide how much or how little, depending on what you want to do. Patreon, patreon.com/aftermoviediner. And now, let me whisk you away to the world of miscellaneous plumbing fixtures for tunes aplenty. And come back next week for another episode of Sleazy Spader Springtime. Goodbye!